So, welcome to the first day of Sociology of Race and Ethnicity. My name is Dr. Jonathan Grant. I will be your professor for this class. I first want to say thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to teaching you as well as learning from you many different things around sociology of race and ethnicity. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over the syllabus. You can find it in your simple syllabus. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the class, what you can expect, and then also we're going to go over Canvas so you can know where everything is. And hopefully this gives you a very good understanding of the class, what you can expect. And then also, if you have any questions, let you know where you can find me. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Um, if you are watching this video, then you've already gone to the first week, the first module, and you've seen it on here to kind of get you started. Either that or you have probably navigated Canvas, maybe to where the syllabus is, or maybe to where the homepage is. But more than likely, you probably found it on the module. And so we are here. So with that being said, go ahead and click on the simple syllabus and you will see the semester. We are here. You will see where it says getting started. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Um, and let's see. Maybe what I'll do, yeah, we can just go ahead and get started with the title. So you have the Sociology of Race and Ethnicity, the course information. Of course, this course is meeting online. You see my email address is j.grant@UNF. And you see I am the instructor. My office location, if you ever want to see me in person, this is where my office is, building 51, room 2223. This is the social science building. If you come to the second floor, if you just find room 2223, I'll be there. Mostly during my office hours. Well, not mostly, all the time during my office hours, 10 a.m. to noon on Monday and Wednesday, and 3 to 3:30 on Monday and Wednesday. So that's where you can find me for office hours if you ever decide to come in person. And if you don't want to meet in person, if you just want to meet over Zoom, you can log into the Zoom link there, and I'll have my Zoom open during that time as well, so that we can meet. So if you are somewhere else, or if you're in your dorm or your apartment or wherever, and you want to meet, the Zoom will be open as well, and I'll also be there in person. So again, you see my email address there. And from there, we can go ahead and get started. So this is an upper level survey course that looks at race and ethnicity through a sociological lens. So there's various lenses that we could go with this class, but because I am a sociologist, I look at race and ethnicity through the lens of, or through the framing of sociological theories. I'm going to pay very close attention to the historical, political, and social context of racial issues. So we're going to add a little bit of history in there. We're going to talk about the various policies that have shaped the way in which we as a society socially construct race. And these are the things that are going to help us have these discussions and this dialogue that I think will be very useful for you. And this is something that people of any racial group can relate to, or can learn from, right? So I really think by the end of this class, you would have really gathered a lot of information. And the purpose really is for you to be able to take a look at yourself and look at your own experiences, and hopefully enlighten maybe things that you've been through or seen or heard or experienced, and hopefully help advance you on a personal level. The course examines the formation and transformation of racial systems throughout history. We focus on things such as colonialism, slavery, segregation, and how all of these different things, these different inequalities can influence people of all racial groups. We look at and examine all different racial groups and explore them within their historical context and look at examples of different groups, explore them within their historical context and have discussions on them. Students will examine relevant sociological theories of race and ethnicity, including the social construction of race, which we'll talk about in a couple of weeks, looking at structural racism and present day institutions, and we'll also look at the dynamics of race as it includes other intersectional identities, class, gender, nationality, sexuality, education, religion. All of these other intersectional identities we will also use to help us understand race and ethnicity in historically and in the present day. The course gives us a critical sociological perspective of race and ethnicity, specifically in the United States. We'll touch on some things abroad, but for the most part, we're going to stay within the U.S. context. We're going to examine how race and ethnicity matter in personal issues as well as in society broadly. And we'll engage in these things, we'll engage in these concepts through a collection of different readings. We'll also look at some videos. We may engage in some podcasts, documentaries. So we're going to engage in various forms of media to really have a good understanding of what we mean and what we're talking about when we're talking about race. We'll also contextualize contemporary racial events in light of our historical analyses. So we're not just going to talk about things that have happened in the past, but also talk about things that have happened in the present day and look at how, again, race intersects with these other social identities that we talked about: gender, class, religion, sexuality, etc. The structure and assignments of this course are designed to help you critically think. So I want you to critically think. I want you to, in some ways, dive deep into yourself, and do some personal reflection. And you don't have to share all of your personal experiences. You can share whatever you feel comfortable with. But I do want to see you reflecting on some of your experiences and some of your ideas and sharing them through the discussion board or through assignments or other ways. While we primarily focus our attention on issues of racial inequality and oppression, we will conclude the semester by discussing how these groups negotiate race and racism, but also how they create forms of resistance and agency. So we're not just going to talk about issues around race, the good, the bad, the ugly, but also talk about ways in which these issues and some of these problems have caused people to unite, to come together, to resist, to create their own subjective um, agencies and mediums of agency so that they can improve the lives and the lives of the people in their community. So by the time you complete this course, I want you to have identified and described the history of the sociological theoretical examination of race and ethnicity. I want you to be able to identify and describe the interpersonal elements in minority and majority relations. As well as minority and minority relations. I want you to be able to describe the socio-historical processes that have affected Black Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans. I also want you to be able to demonstrate the understanding of the changing of dynamics of race relations and minority experiences in the 21st century. So, additional outcomes I want you to be able to do. And again, I'm not going to read everything. I don't want to insult your intelligence. I know you can read. So, you can read these objectives, and these are the outcomes that you will see that will be aligned with every module, so you know exactly how certain activities and how certain topics that we're covering, how they align to certain outcomes. I want you to be able to do these things through or as we look at the understanding of theories around race and racial inequality and the social structures that shed light on these experiences. So we're gonna be doing these things through lectures, assignments, discussions, exams. all to help evaluate how and if you understand the power dynamics that have shaped the unique experiences of racially marginalized people in the United States, right? So we're going to talk about these things, and those are some of the ways in which you will be assessed, right? So if you have any questions, you can write them down now. You can email me, you can message me. I'll get to all of that in a second. You see this Canvas assignment schedule. But you can also just make sure that you are following along in the modules to know when things are due. Um, and yes, so you can know when and how things are due for the class and how you submit assignments for the class. With that being said, week one, I'm not going to go over the entire course schedule, but you see what you have to read and cover. And we will be following this to a T. So you will see every module will be directly connected to all of these things, and the assignments will be related to all of these topics. Okay. So you see we have all of our weeks all the way until the end of the semester, all the way up until your exam two or your final exam. So that is that. So let's go ahead and jump into the course policies. So online learning can be difficult to navigate. I'm not a computer expert. I may not be able to solve like the glitches in Canvas. I can do my best. I can give you some suggestions. Those are things that you want to go to IT about. I won't be able to solve those problems, but I can, it is my responsibility to make sure that I get information to you, and I'll do what I can to get it to the masses. However, I don't want, if there's a personal glitch, please feel free to see IT for that, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you. Course policies and expectations. So this is very important. Um, this just lets you know how everything is going to be laid out. Every Monday, you can expect a lecture video to be uploaded to the module for that week. Okay. And along with watching the videos, you're going to be required to follow along using the PowerPoint for the week's module. So I'm going to upload a lecture video. And then for that video, there's going to be a PowerPoint associated with it. You want to watch the video. You want to take notes on the video, and then you want to follow along with the PowerPoints so that you know exactly what everything means. Okay. So you want to read the readings, watch the video, follow along on the PowerPoints. Um, and then after you do that, that's when you can uh, work on the assignments. So again, this is my suggestion to you. If you have other ways in which you feel you can be successful, feel free to implement those. But this is what I've seen work, whether in person or on my online classes. And so this is my suggestion to you. All assignments for the week will be available on Monday under the modules link, and then they'll be due that following Sunday. So you'll have roughly a week to complete the assignment. Okay. So you have from Monday until the following Sunday, unless I state otherwise, unless there's like a special assignment, maybe an assignment that needs to be a little longer, more than likely. I may give you an extra week or some days or something, right? But just know that in general, for the most part, your assignments will be given to you that Monday, and you have that week, that weekend, all the way up until that following Sunday to complete it. So again, to perform well, just want to go over this, read the readings, watch the lecture videos, follow along with the PowerPoints, take notes on the videos and the PowerPoints, and then complete the assignments. You do that successfully, I don't see why you wouldn't pass the class. I've never seen somebody do all those things successfully and not pass the class. So yeah, you should do that. Makeup exams. So these are for students who have excused absences, and I will determine if an absence is excused. You must provide official documentation related to that absence. So a doctor's note, legal documents, something related to medical or legal emergencies. If you're not able to provide that, you will not be able to make up the exam, and it will be a zero. So making up those exams are at my discretion. make sure that you let me know when you'll be back to class, when everything is okay, and we'll figure everything out. But absolutely, if you have an emergency or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to adjust with you and work with you so that you can complete your assignments. Late assignment policy. If you submit any assignment, excluding the final paper, up to 24 hours after the deadline, the highest grade that you can receive on that assignment is a 75. If you submit the assignment 24 to 48 hours after the original deadline, the highest grade you can receive is a 50. Assignment submitted 48 hours after the original deadline will not be graded. This policy does not apply to the final paper, to quizzes, or exams. So again, you have them from Monday until that following Sunday to complete these assignments. If you turn it in that Monday, the highest you can get is a what? 75. If you turn it in that Tuesday, the highest you can get is a 50. And then after that following Tuesday, it's a 0. So make sure that you are turning in your assignments and you're turning them in on time. I do stick by that late assignment policy pretty stringently. Okay. I will adjust the policy under situations of a medical or legal emergency. Okay, so I will adjust that again depending on what it is. I do give you a week. So if there's like 1 or 2 days in between that something happened, I don't know. It just depends on the situation. I cannot guarantee because you do have a whole week to complete it. So don't wait until the last minute. Make sure that you are completing your assignments as early as possible. How the policy applies again is up to my discretion. If there are certain cultural or religious observances, please let me know in the beginning of the semester, and I will make certain arrangements for you because I know that you have certain cultural or religious observances. I will make accommodations for that. Again, you have big assignments, so like your midterm exam, your final paper. Those are huge. So if you don't submit those, you get a 0. And I don't want anybody to get a 0. I love to see students pass. I love to see students do well. So please submit it on time, even if it's not good. Even if it's not good, it's better to get some points than no points. The zeros, especially on big assignments, is very hard to bounce back from. Even if you didn't study, take the exam anyway, do the best you can, guess, and see what happens. But it's better to do that than to get a 0. Okay. Again, no exceptions for graduating seniors. Please pay close attention to the syllabus, lectures, reminders, and videos. I beg of you, I want you to graduate. I want you to do well. I want you to be successful. I have no interest in seeing people not do well. I promise you I don't. I want it. I want it so bad for you. I want you to achieve your dreams, but I want you to work for it. And I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to the assignments and when things are due and when you're supposed to have things. And I also offer grace. So I give you a chance to make up assignments towards the end of the semester or an assignment. We'll talk about that in a second. I also give you a 2-day window. So you have points off, but you can still turn in assignments. So I try to have things built in to do the very best that I can to help you, but you gotta help me help you. Okay. So please, please, please pay attention, follow instructions, and you'll do well. So we do have assignments. The course is lecture centered, so you'll be watching these lecture videos and then following along. Most of your grade will depend on your engagement with the material. All assignments will be submitted via Canvas unless otherwise stated. So do not email assignments. It is highly likely that they will not be graded. The only time that an assignment may be given to me outside of Canvas is if you're meeting with me in person and let's say you wanted to give me an assignment in person. Maybe you've been meeting with me during office hours. Because sometimes online students may want to meet with me during office hours in person. That happens. That's okay. And we've already decided you're gonna give me something in person. That's cool too, right? But generally speaking, majority of the time you're gonna submit something online. Um, Please do not email assignments. I have a lot of emails. They're going to get lost unless stated otherwise. Unless we had a conversation and I'm looking for that assignment, do not email an assignment to me. If you do not complete most of the assignments, discussions, exams, and/or essays, you run a high risk of failing the course. So you gotta complete these things. Again, I don't know anybody who's completed all the assignments, studied, done everything I've asked. I've never seen that person fail. Never. So do those things. And but if you don't, yeah, it can run the opposite. Refer to your syllabus, check the modules, okay? Do not depend on Canvas to remind you. I've had many students say, oh, Canvas didn't remind me that I had this due date. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You don't want to always depend on Canvas. Put it in your calendars, put it in your schedules, make sure you check every day so that you know what is coming. I want you to be successful. I want you to win. Exam one, 20% of your grade. Exam two, 20%. You have an AI essay that you have to complete. That's 15% of your grade. You're going to have reading quizzes that you will be completing throughout the semester. Those are 15% of your grade. You have class assignments, and then you have a race body essay that you have to complete. And we will talk about that. Actually, we'll talk about that a little more later. We won't talk about that as much now because that has to do with some of the theoretical concepts we're going to be discussing. So, you can read it for yourself. If you want to start on it, that's fine, but I don't really want to start until I get more into the semester. Then that way things will make more sense in terms of what I'm asking you to do. So exam one, it'll be multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer questions. I may give you key terms to define. There may be assessments in terms of, you know, critical thinking and defining and analyzing. You'll have to be doing some of those things as well in your exams. So keep those things in mind. These exams will be based on information in the class from the beginning of the semester to the time of the exam. Students can choose to complete the exam anytime in the week, but will have 90 minutes to complete the assignment once they start the exam. So I'm going to give you an exam for that week, and then you have once you start, then that's when the time starts. So you got to make sure that you are, you're going and you're completing the assignment. You're starting it, and then once you start, that's how it is. And that's how it is for exam two as well, except it's not comprehensive. So keep that in mind. Your exams are not comprehensive. Your exams are, um, your exams are uh just based off of what you from one point to one point, okay? Because we do go over a lot of information. I'll go over the AI essay more. That's pretty long, and so it'll be a lot to go over right now. But as we get closer, we'll go over your AI essay. But of course, you can always read it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Um, Reading quizzes. At various times throughout the semester, I will administer a reading quiz. There will be a total of about 6 reading quizzes. The quizzes will be 5 to 10 questions and will address material covered in the reading. Each question will be worth 10 to 20 points. The purpose of the quiz is to ensure that you are completing the readings and are prepared for class discussions. They're going to basically address basic content in the reading. It's important to complete the quiz during the time allotted and before the deadline, and you will receive a 0 credit for the quiz if it is not um, completed before the deadline. Okay, so make sure that you are doing these, that you're doing the quizzes, and that you are completing the quizzes so that you will get credit. Um, so that is extremely important. And I hope that you keep that in mind. Of course, you also have, um, oh, I think I lost my space. You have the reading quizzes. Oh, you have your class assignments. So again, you want to follow along with the lecture and the PowerPoints, and then you have class assignments. Those will be under your module. So every week, open the module and you'll see everything you have to do. You'll see the video, you'll see the PowerPoint, and you'll see your assignments, and you'll see your readings. You'll see everything right there, right? Whether it's the reading, whether it's a reminder of the reading in the book, or whether it's a PDF or a link to a reading outside of the book, okay? Make sure you will, though, that is where you will see everything. So you are expected to have read the material before the lecture and complete assignments before the deadline. All assignments for the week will be available on Monday under the modules link and will be due the following Sunday by 11:59 p.m. Do not depend on Canvas to remind you. Okay. Now, going to feedback and explanation of grades on assignments. So my goal is to get grades back to you as soon as possible. If you would like to know your grade on a specific assignment, you can see me during office hours and we can discuss it. Um, and so, just want to make sure that that is understandable. I will give, as much feedback as I feel I need to for you. If you want more feedback, you can always ask me, but I will give feedback on your assignments so that you know what it is that you're doing. Sometimes I'll directly connect you to the the rubric so that you'll see what you did right, what you did wrong. But then you'll also see sometimes I may provide a kind of personal, just some personal thoughts on what you said and how that could be better, or what you said that did work that I really like. So so again, please be sure to look at that. And if you want additional feedback, I'll be more than happy to provide that too. If you have a question about your grade or want to discuss how you received the score, feel free to come to the office hours or set up an appointment, and I'll be more than happy to discuss any assignment in detail. So that is, of course, important as well. Okay. So let's see, we are talking about feedback. Um, see. Before you submit an assignment, double check that you have met the requirements outlined in the assignment instructions, and I will grade some assignments manually and give online feedback comments directly on your assignment. Again, make sure that you are paying close attention to what it is that you have to complete for your assignments. Okay. So grading, grades are pretty standard. 90 to 100 is an A, 82, 89 is a B, and so forth. I round all grades to the nearest whole number at the end of the semester. So an 83.5 is an 84, but an 83.4 is an 83. So just want you to keep that in mind. Many of your assignments and grades will be posted on Canvas. The grade on Canvas may not always be an accurate reflection of the grade in the class for various reasons. Let's say that there is some extra credit that you completed. If I offer extra credit, um, you know, that may not be in there. So let's have a conversation, right? Or there may be something else going on. In general, the grades are pretty reflective, but again, just in case there's something additional that you have to complete or haven't completed, or all those things. Just please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to contact you. Um, or reach out to me and we can discuss it. Extra credit. Generally, I do not offer extra credit in my classes, but if I do, I will send out any extra credit opportunities via an announcement on Canvas. Um, and so, you know, just keep that in mind. That is also very important. All right. So now we can go to the textbook. This is your textbook, Getting Real About Race. Um, and you can see the course schedule for that. Um, so acceptable AI use in the course. Obviously, AI is something that is, you know, been a big deal for the past couple of years. So we do have a write-up here. This course permits you to use artificial intelligence tools such as text box, text generators, paraphrasers, summarizers, or solvers to get guidance on assignments as long as you do so in an ethical and responsible manner. So you can think of these tools as ways to help you learn, but not to create an assignment for you, like a discussion board post, essays, presentation slides, and so on. AI is more like a tutor or a TA, but should not replace your independent thinking. I still want you to independently think, and I want you to apply what you think to the things that we are talking about in class. Okay. Um, so that is extremely important. Okay. This means that you must not use AI to replace your own thinking or your or analysis, or so that you don't have to engage in the content. Use these tools so that for tests that are appropriate for level learning. So make sure that you are using it to get a better understanding. That you are still watching the videos, you're still participating in the readings, and then maybe it gives you a better understanding of your work. Um, don't use it to cite or explain any AI tools you use. Provide the name of the AI tool, the date of access, so you can cite it in that way. Cite any AI tools that you use, like OpenAI, ChatGPT, etc. Be transparent and honest about your use of AI and how it contributed to your assignment. One question that is always asked, or that is asked from professors, is what if you sat down and you wrote a really great essay? I mean, you put in the time, the effort, to write a good essay. You took time away from fun that you wanted to have. You studied the material, you learned it, you had an understanding, and you took weeks to write this essay for your class. And I took that essay and I put it in the AI. I gave the AI a rubric. I put it in the AI, and then I gave you your grade. Never read it. Just put it in AI, gave you your grade. How would you feel? Right? You probably would be upset, even if you got an A, maybe, right? Even if you got the grade that you wanted, maybe, but still, kind of be upset, like, man, I really put time and effort into this. And I really would have liked to get really strong feedback, personal feedback, right? Not just what I did in the rubric, but also some additional ideas, right? Um, so just kind of think about that with your instructors, with your professors, with your teachers, okay? Um, you are accountable for any mistakes or errors that AI may use, because AI is not perfect. So check and edit the output before you submit your work. Discover any inaccuracies. In fact, there are many times that AI is wrong. And I've caught AI being wrong. And I've caught students who have gotten poor grades because they only used AI for an assignment because it was wrong. So AI is not perfect. It's still a machine. Um, and AI doesn't know everything that is discussed in the class, right? So that's very important. Um, if the instructor suspects that the use of AI was done in an unethical way, he or she reserves the right to respond to this suspicion via a warning, loss of points, or a low grade. You have the right to dispute any claims of unethical use or plagiarism with the instructor directly. Using AI tools is an unethical or irresponsible manner. So copying or paraphrasing the output without citation or transparency, using the output to misrepresent your knowledge or skills is considered a form of academic dishonesty and will result in a zero grade and possible disciplinary action. So keep that in mind as you're using AI. If you have any questions about what constitutes the use of AI or responsible use of AI, please see me. Okay. Some instructors will also list um, specific and unacceptable uses. Some may say on all written assignments, etc. But these are just some things to think about. So this is from the North Carolina State University, developing course AI guidelines, driving class AI discussion, and teaching resources. So this is kind of a mixture of that as well as my own personal rules around AI usage. Okay. In the event that there's a disruption of normal classroom activities, like an emergency or a pandemic, you will be notified, and there will be an addendum to this syllabus that will supersede this version. And it is your responsibility as a student to be proactive during any of these emergencies to get the instructions from the professor. Okay. We've talked about academic integrity. You know about that, plagiarism and improper publication, improper use of AI. So you can read that statement, the accessibility statement. You want to read that as well. Um, Academic resources. These are some of the academic services that exist for you. The Writing Center, the Smart Center. Um, Students enrolled in this course are permitted to, if this is generally in most courses where they have recording class lectures. So there is that statement. You also have the Title IX statement as well. So you can read all of those for yourself. Um, I hope that you understand the syllabus. And if you have any questions or if there's any changes, and if there are any changes, they'll be slight. They won't be major changes. But if there are, I will let you know. Um, but if you have any questions, you can email me, you can message me, and I will get back with you. So that is the syllabus. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to go through Canvas and we'll just jump right into everything. Uh, Again, I won't read everything on Canvas. You can read much of this for yourself. And a good portion of this is just reinforcing what's already on the syllabus. Um, so yeah, I won't go through all of that again. But if you go to the homepage and you should read the homepage. Again, it's everything that we just talked about, description of the course, the outcomes and objectives, my information about me, the required text. Yeah, that's what's on the homepage. So again, literally everything we've talked about in the syllabus. You can go ahead and go to start here. And it says at this point you have already reviewed the simple syllabus. You've looked at the instructor and office hours, which is located on the homepage. We just saw that. And so then we just kind of go through everything. This is not a self-paced or a self-study course, meaning that there are assignments. You don't go at your own pace. It's not that there's everything laid out and then you just complete it as you go. Um, it includes assignments, activities, deadlines, etc. Okay. This is Meet Your Instructor. So this just tells you a little bit more about me, where I'm from. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I was born and raised here. I'm a professor of sociology and Africana studies. I have a BA in theology. I have an MA in African American studies, and I have a PhD in sociology. And this just kind of tells you a little bit about myself and what I have studied and what I've published and some of the research that I have going on right now. I have a book that is coming out February 2027 February 2027 through Temple University Press, where I talk about Atlanta as a Black Mecca. I talk about race, class, and place. So that is where my focus is with a lot of my research, as well as educational inequality. And so I talk about that as well in a lot of my research. I've traveled the world presenting research and teaching and giving lectures and talks. And then I like doing other things. I like reading, I like writing, I like watching podcasts, I like traveling, I like watching stand-up comedy. I love to laugh. So just a little bit about me. Um, Course overview and objectives, again, showing you that in multiple formats so that you know what to expect with the course. Okay. Um, Learning modules. So there are 16 modules with a correlating week for the semester that will include learning outcomes, links, instructional materials, and everything you need to know that topic. In each module, uh, assignments in each module will help me assess your comprehension. Please see the course schedule so that you know when assignments are due, and please submit the assignments before the due date. Waiting till the last minute is not good. Okay. Most assignments it says will be submitted in person or online. The only reason why I say in person again is because there may be some students who may see me during office hours and want to submit something for a special purpose. So that can happen. However, again, you know, I don't presume that most of you will do that. So online will be the primary means of submitting something to me. Your grade in this course will be determined by a point system. The assignments in this course, exams, essays, and other assessment tools will also be ways in which I will see how well you are comprehending this information. Um, Again, please visit the syllabus. Um, and then details for each assignments will have instructions and grading criteria. Um, Again, you can see the grades and feedback. So I have that here for you. Uh, then of course you have your other standard statements, minimum technology requirements, computer skills, accessibility, digital literacy skills, academic integrity, land acknowledgement, acknowledging the land of the Makamas whose un unceded homeland we are now on. So acknowledging the people who were here before us. This region was their territory for thousands of years before French and subsequent European and American colonizers settled here. And so we always pay homage to the land that was here, the people that were here on this land prior to more modern European expansion. Um, so we review the simple syllabus, the course schedule, the instructional materials. Make sure you bring a pencil, pen, paper, tech device, laptop, anything to your instructional time. Complete the posted assignments, discussions, etc. before the due date. Again, the course policies and expectations are right here for you to complete. So, well, the course policies and expectations are here for you to read and then complete every week. You can read this on your own, the communication etiquette. Yeah, you'll have Zoom meetings. You can reach me via email or message. How some of the etiquette around being on the computer, on the internet. You can read that. You have the student health and support information on the next slide, next page, and then getting started. So, um, your first task, they have to update your profile and your notification preferences, so you can do that yourself. And then essentially for me, what you're going to do for this first week is one of the things you're going to do is complete the syllabus and class information quiz. Probably one of the easiest grades you'll get this semester. All you got to do is complete it. And if you don't do well, you can take it again until you do well. Easy. And essentially what it is you're just answering questions about the syllabus, about the class, about information for the class. Um, and you can go look on the syllabus and find it. You can also go to Canvas and find information. So I just want to make sure that you know what to expect for the class. Also introduce yourself. So tell the class a little bit about you. So you go to that discussion board and just fill it out. And yeah, it's voluntary. Just kind of give us some information on you. Okay. So yes, do that. Please complete that information, syllabus and class information quiz for week one. Okay. And so that is that. And then of course, as you go to week one module, you'll see any lecture videos, any readings, any lectures that you have to look at and participate in. So you see all of that right there in week one, and that's it. That's then in your assignments that you have to complete. And that's literally what every week will look like for you. You see the purpose of the module, the purpose of what we're discussing for that week, and the objectives. So what we're going to do, how it, is linked back to specific objectives. Obviously, we're just reviewing the class right now, so there's no course objectives, but in subsequent modules, you will have course objectives that will be linked to the the directions, assignments, etc. Okay. Um, Announcements. There are not any announcements right now, I don't think. But you may get some. So, assignments. So Assignments will come again every week, and as those assignments come up, you will complete them here, but the assignments will also be in your modules, but you can also find them on the assignments tab. Um, Discussions, the same thing. You will see discussions come up. Also, there is something called optional resources. So there you will be able to write in, as well as myself, write in any optional resources, any materials that you see that you think would be of interest to the class, books, articles, um, documentaries, links, YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, I don't know, just different things, right, that you think would be useful that relate to the class. I do reserve the right to remove anything that I feel is inappropriate, right? I typically don't have that problem, but I've had that problem in the past. Actually, not at UNF, but I have had that problem in the past. So, um, so I do reserve that right. However, I trust that you all know what is proper and you can, fill that out and use that discussion board to add on those additional optional resources that you found. Um, Here are your grades. So when you need to look at your grades, you can look at them here. Pages. You don't really typically you won't have to go there because that just links you back to the home page and all of that. Files is where you will find your readings. So you'll find your readings in files. However, the readings for each class will generally be right there, right? You'll generally have the readings right there for the class, for the module. So you'll rarely have to actually go into files to find the reading. But if you need to, you can go there. But generally, I'll just provide that link to the module, and then you just click at the module, you'll have the reading, just click on it and it'll pull up. Okay. Syllabus, old syllabus, as you know, UNF has moved from the old syllabus to simple syllabus. Um, Here are your rubrics, which will be connected to your assignment. So you rarely will have to go here, but this is where your rubrics are from. So you have your class assignments, your discussion board, and your race body essay. But again, it will be directly connected to that assignment. So as you read your assignment on the assignments, you'll read them and then you'll see the rubric there. So you'll know what I'm looking for. Um, And then quizzes, again, everything will be connected on the module, so you'll rarely have to go here separately, but if you want to, you can. Okay. Um, Here's your modules right here. So this is, one of, if not the most important link for the class. And so here, every week, you'll go here and this week you'll complete everything for this week. Next week you'll open it up, complete for next week, and you'll go from there. Okay. So that is that. Collaborations, you won't need to worry about attendance. I don't think there are any other links that you need to worry about outside of simple syllabus. Um, Nothing else here that I see that you will need to engage in besides what we've covered and then your simple syllabus here. Um, so yes, please let me know if you have any questions. You know my office hours. Please feel free to reach out to me then. Um, Email, message, and yeah, that's all I can think of. I think I've covered everything. I look forward to teaching you. I look forward to you learning from me and me learning from you. And I hope that this class expands your knowledge base on race and ethnicity, but even more importantly, I hope that it transforms your personal and any spaces and places where you want to be in advance personally to help you evolve into a better person. I hope this class plays even a small role in that. So look forward to seeing you, meeting you. Hope you have a great day, great week, great weekend. See you soon.